Well, it's Eric here at Peachtree Classic Cars, and I've got something really unique to us. This is the first time that we've ever had one up for sale, and my daughter bought this car. It's her car. It is a 1959 Studebaker Lark, and even the horn works. Great running, great driving, great story on this car. I encourage her to scoop it up because the story, let's take it for a drive and I'll tell you the story along the way. Touch of the key and she fires right up. It's a very quiet engine. Clutch feels good. It's got a 3-speed on the column. Plenty of power. My daughter's 23. She's been driving this car. She drove the car home when we bought it. In fact, drove it home from the original owners. So I guess to be fair, since we're the in-between people, to keep the story straight, this car, pay attention to you're doing my driving real quick, just drives perfectly straight, super easy to steer. Brakes are pulling a little to the right. I think they could use an adjustment or just a brake service. Other than that, the car just drives awesome. And like I said, my 23-year-old daughter's driving it home from purchasing it. But the title is still in the original family's name. And this car has actually been in the same family since brand new. Really, really cool. They bought it in Nebraska, worked on a farm. And the cool thing is that so I don't think the emergency brake works. We're gonna try it. Okay, maybe it is working. So I wanted to stop in the shade so you can get a best look. Okay, story on the car. Short version is this car's been the same family since it was brand new, bought brand new. It's been in Nebraska, always been kept indoors. Rarely have ever driven in the snow. And it's only got 59,000 original miles. So they kept it on their farm as their little run into town car. And he just told me, he said, you know, we have a farm in Nebraska. We take the truck in and, you know, to everywhere we go, but grandpa bought this little car so we could run into town in it sometimes, go to church, whatever. So cool thing is it's still got the original sticker on it from the dealership, and it just purrs like a kitten. You just heard the engine back there. I gotta pop the hood inside. It's not like the American cars where you gotta pop them on the outside. Let's see, so pop the hood. And I'm still learning the car, so a little catch there. Ugh. Perfectly smooth running 6-cylinder. I didn't want to, well, I was tempted to start to do some, like, you know, restoration stuff to it. I wanted to, you know, blast the engine down, do an engine detail, and I thought, I don't want to do anything because this car's never been in an accident. Well, maybe a minor one. When I say that, he did say that when they were pulling it in the garage one time, that he didn't push the brake hard enough and hit a truck in front of him, just dented that little spot right there. But that'll be fixed easy. Clean, unbelievably rust-free, and an unbelievable original condition on this thing. That is just what blew my mind. All the lights work. I'm gonna turn it off. So I always do these videos, I always say the same thing. If it was my car, this is what I would do to it. If it was my car, I'd take it to my guy who is a really good paint and body guy, but he's very reasonably priced and fair. I would have him fix this right here. I don't think that would be too hard to do. Like I said, he just said they were pulling in where they park it in the garage and just bumped the truck in front of them, made that little dent. Other than that, it's never been in an accident, a real accident. So if it was mine, I'd have that fixed. The only other spot, so this is the original paint. So I'd have single stage, original style paint mixed up, and I'd have that done. I'd have a couple little touch-ups done. And if you look down here, you know, the rockers have the paint worn off just from the car, where the car was driven. Little spot right there. I would have these little spots touched up, and then I would have the car buffed and waxed, and I would drive it like it is, because I could still say at a car show, that's actually the original paint. We've touched up a couple little spots, but it's the original paint. And you can almost not, Never say that about cars anymore. It's very rare, or unless they're super high dollar. Yeah, sure, you can go to Barrett Jackson, you can see these, you know, 63 split window Corvettes with, you know, only original 12,000 miles and original paint on them, but they're, you know, $180,000 cars. We're not talking about this. Is a car like this, a normal person's, not a wealthy person's car. It's extremely rare to find them in this great a condition. So another thing is, from the dealership, okay, so I wanted to point that out. The hinge is popping right there. Probably just a slight adjustment and be fine. Original door panels. Again, if it was mine, I might recover the armrest, but I'd leave the rest. This is the original interior, unmolested. Great condition. I mean, not excellent, brand new, but great. But let me tell you this, these seats were covered at the dealership with the cover, you know, the plastic covers like grandma and grandpa used to put on their car seats and their furniture in their house. We just took it off, and partly because it was starting to crack and it was discolored. So we took it off, I mean, to reveal what looks like almost brand new seats. I mean, these are in impeccable condition. So again, if it was my car, another thing I would do is I'd get track down a factory original floor mat for it. It is worn here from being driven. You can see that the floor pan's in fine shape. But I'd do a factory original floor mat or a carpet kit for it. Like I said, touch up the paint, buff it out from bumper to bumper. Maybe put some beauty rings on it. I like beauty rings on the tires, maybe some of the thin ones, the 1.25 inches, not the big thick ones you get at O'Reilly's, but the nicer ones like they put on a Ford. I just like those. But and maybe while I had the guy touching up the paint, I might have the wheels painted just to make it pop. Other than that, I just drive it. Car, I mean, I like engine details, and if I was going to keep the car, I might do an engine detail to make it pop at a car show. All the original gauges are working, the lights work, the horn works. I like the way the old horns sound. See if I can pop the hood here with my camera in my hand. It's got this little protecto here, you slide around. Pop the hood, trunk, I'm sorry. Original spare tires in here. I think that might be the actual original. It's still got the old nylon Firestone Champion, nylon safety champion is what it's called. The original jack is in here. Pretty cool, really clean. I'm trying to be real careful with this floor, you know, the pad, but look at this. I mean, yeah, little spots of surface rust, but this is a rust-free, just unbelievable condition. And I don't know, I mean, I think especially for the money, there's a part of me that says I'd rather have this car in the original condition that it is. And here's the great thing, it didn't sit up. They've kept this car on the road. They've just, kind of like my grandpa, he's got his original Buick Skylark from 1966. He literally drives it 1 mile a week. 1 mile a week. I mean, it gets 50, 60 miles, but it puts it on the, he drives it around the neighborhood one time in 1 lap. And that's how this car's been taken. Probably, he told me they drive it 2 or 3 times a month, and they just, you know, run down to the grocery store or whatever. So in other words, they probably put 150, 200 miles a year on it. But the nice thing about that, it stays on the road. And we all know that classic cars that stay on the road are in a lot better running condition. So it's got tires that are new. The undercarriage of this car is in unbelievable condition. I was just blown away. I mean, there's no salt, there's no rust. I mean, obviously, like I said, surface rust. These are the original floor pans. And I guess what I was saying earlier is, I'd rather have this car and tinker with it, especially for the price. I mean, for half or even a third of the price of one that's been restored, because for very minimal effort, you could polish up an original car. You've got the story. I mean, if you buy this car, you're going to be the second owner since brand new. I mean, oh my gosh, it just blows my mind. I just don't get cars this clean very often. Just really want to show you how clean it is under here. And this is the kind of thing, like I said, I wouldn't even want to put this on. I'm not even sure I'd want to put it on a lift and do a pour 15 job underneath it, because this just shows, you know, you'd end up hiding the fact that this is the original condition, and it's just so nice. Rockers, frame rails. I don't see a spot. I don't see a single, that I can tell, I don't see a single rust hole. I don't see a bubble in the paint at the bottom of the doors where they normally rust. I don't see rocker rust. The fenders, I mean, like I said, the car, it really is. I am genuinely impressed. I'm not being a salesman to say that. I'm genuinely impressed with the originality of this car, and nothing impresses me more. Like I said, my daughter, I found this car. Actually, a guy bought a finished mower from me from our farm, and he said, hey, you interested in a Studebaker? And my daughter said, I am. She's kind of trying to get in the business a little bit, and she's tracking down something every once in a while to pay for her college. And nothing impresses me more than when she says, I want to drive the car home, because that tells me it's safe, it's reliable. I took it for a drive, of course, a test drive first, but it's safe, it's reliable enough for my daughter, for my wife to drive, then it's good enough for me. So I love this car. It's extremely unique. It's extremely affordable to buy something under 10 grand. It's got an amazing story. We got a clear Nebraska title on it. I'm super excited to own it. I'm going to be sad to see it go, and we're probably going to try to keep it out on the road while we've got it in the shop. I may throw a plate on it and drive it for a little bit. You don't want to see a car like this sit around when you can go show it off and drive to the grocery store and stuff. So give us a call, PeachtreeClassicCars.com.